Green Lantern's number 50. Dan Jurgens writing, Mike Perkins on the art. It was oversized as well. It was about 10 extra pages. So we're going to talk about this. I think what struck me about this was right away is that it feels less like just Simon and Jess now, and more like it's, at least for this arc, it's going to be a lot more of the Lanterns. Kilowog's in here, Guy's there, Kyle's there, John's there.
Definitely. It's worth noting that immediately this is set after Hal Jordan Green Lantern Corps 50. So this feels like, okay, that's going away at least for a month or two before they replace that. We know that. Then, okay, so this is filling the slot as the general Green Lantern book. I think.
My only downside to that is I liked the spotlight being on Jess and Simon a bit more because they were newer. So we'll see how it shapes up once the other book starts and what that is. I can almost see it being a Hal book, and then this will be the everyone else book.
Core.
Yeah. But I did like the issue quite a bit. I'm into the plot they're building. The idea that the rings are disobeying the Lanterns and something's corrupting them is a really fun idea. And except maybe Jesse's ring, because Jesse's ring is like, hey, you can't trust anyone, Jess. Seriously.
Right.
Like they're compromised.
So, man, the more I read of Jurgens, the more I appreciate him, because I feel like he's this like unsung writer at DC. He's been around forever, and when you think about it, he doesn't whiff that often. And the fact that he was picking up on stuff that he wrote, because we get the what's his name from the action arc, who tried to kill Luthor. But I'm gonna find him.
Slayer
There you go.
The fact that he's brought in, and we saw what he did to Superman and Lex, and like you're instantly know like you're in for trouble. That whatever did this messed him up big time. I like that, and even if you haven't read that arc, right? If you're just a Lantern reader,
it works.
Here it sets the stakes as well. So
because John finds this derelict ship and his ring's like, oh, there's something coming, but we can handle whatever it is. And it's like an entire fleet of like almost Battlestar Galactica looking ships.
It's a gorgeous page when they all.
It's fantastic. And John's like, oh yeah, sure, manageable. Yeah, that was the word I'd use. But I'll handle it. So we get this mysterious new villain. The book even starts with one of the Guardians who's like, oh no, he is coming, him. He references he knows who this big bad is that's coming. And I actually love, because, John's like, okay, this is worse than I thought. Like, Ring, tell the court to send in, reserves or whatever. And the Ring says, Larton Stewart reports threat resolved, status secure. And I'm like, oh no, what's happening here? And my favorite, possibly my favorite moment of the entire book, actually, is later on when we come back to John, and he's fighting again for a while, and he's like, damn it, Ring, call the Guardians, call the Corps. And it's just, in the one panel below it just says no.
I like that before that as well, though. It tries to justify itself. It's like, oh, sorry, a misunderstanding. I sent the wrong signal. I thought you were referring to the other signal that we were fine.
Yeah, but I love the rings being defiant. So yeah, the call shows up in front of Guy and Kilowog. So they go out looking for John. They find him beaten to death. Like, John's got like enough energy just to like give himself a gas mask, just to be alive. Yeah. So they have to protect him. Kyle comes to get Simon and Jess on Earth.
And they're at a club, which I love. As soon as it opened, I was like, Jess wouldn't go to a club. And then the dialogue is about
first thing
how
to say,
this is something new to her. And I was like, okay, Jurgens, you got me.
Yeah.
Yep. Given that we were complaining those last two issues that Jess and her anxiety just felt out of place.
Oh yeah, that's just
what they were doing.
Let's just wipe that 2-part fill-in from the record.
Yeah, but I think it's funny because that was the most recent thing we'd read with Jess, and so we go in expecting like, okay, that's in your mind as soon as you get to this scene, and then it's like, oh, never mind, forget all about that, we got it right.
Yeah, so the Guardians are freaking out. They want to find Hal. Hal's not around, so they're going to try and contact him. But they're like, okay, get Raynor and the others here, and basically they get to Mogo. By the way, I loved it. I'm flicking through the book as I talk about it. John's like armor that he gives himself at one point is pretty cool.
Yep.
The green armor. But they get to Mogo, and there's basically a giant storm, and like it's getting worse and worse. And like, why is this happening? This has never happened before. This is dangerous. And the lanterns that are there are struggling to deal with it.
I did like that Jess gave herself a little umbrella, and all the blokes just powered on through.
That's very true to life.
It is.
It's always very true to life.
It's always the women with the umbrellas in the bag, isn't it?
Yeah. Unless you go back to like the 50s, and it was very gentlemanly to have like have an umbrella.
Well, even then here, it doesn't rain that often, but when it does, my wife has an umbrella in her car. Me, I just put my jacket up higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I've got a hood or a hat. If not, it's like, well,
Yep.
screw it. I guess I'm getting wet.
Yeah, I'll cope. It's fine.
But also,
fun
like
stuff.
you guys were talking about all the other lanterns that pop up.
Mhm.
You get Princess Eolandi.
Yep.
She's here, and she's like, well, something's going on my planet. I need to be here. I need to be there, not here. And, and then you get Sornek in another panel. Like, it definitely feels like...
And it
the
feels...
all-around-
It's worth noting she's a queen now, not princess.
Yep.
And it
yeah,
feels...
that's right. She is queen.
And it feels really big as well, because then buildings start falling down on Mogo. And,
Yeah.
like, we have, like, Kyle try to hold it up as Jess goes in to try and evacuate whoever's inside. That's how we end the book, because she finds... And I love the panel on the second last page at the bottom, because Jess's face is in such shadow. Because I think the art's pretty good overall. I think there's some faces here or there that are a little bit off.
Yeah. I think it's going to be an acquired taste, because there are parts of it that are just like, oh, man. But there's other stuff, like you guys said, like the ships coming through.
Yeah,
and...
I think the ships are really good. I like the shadows, the inks, the colouring I like a lot. I just think the actual line work at times for the faces is a bit...
It's funny, because are you
Ropey.
praising this panel here with the face and the shadows?
Yeah, I like this panel.
See, I think I don't think it's that good, and I think the shadows are actually trying to hide the problems in the face. To me, I'm
I don't
seeing
think
it
so.
looking
This
at-
is...
like, it looks like it's covering it up to me.
No, because you look at the next page and it's very shadowy as well. It's really playing with the blacks. So
No, it is, but the way it covers us there, and I'm like, because I didn't think it was that strong, and then I'm looking at it, it looks like they're trying to cover some of it up, so it doesn't seem quite.
no,
as bad.
I liked it.
I like
thought
this.
it worked.
I like this
Then
panel. Yeah.
Next page.
Um,
No,
I feel like-
I like the
Do you know
last one a whole lot.
Actually, do you know what I like about that panel a lot? Actually, is the shading on her symbol around the eye. I really like the gradual gradient on that.
I think faces are definitely the weak point of this art, but architecture and ships
Yeah.
look phenomenal.
Yeah, I think I'll be quite into this art. If it keeps with this with Perkins, I think I'll be into it overall. Even if there's a couple of spotty elements here or there, but I think its strengths are working for what Green Lantern is a lot of the time. So
Yeah. Well, and the greens really pop, like on Simon's uniform.
yeah,
Like his design and on his face, the green really pops. And then you look over at Jess, and hers is more green than his. So.
Yeah.
But
Also-
but you find that Simon's with Conasol.
yeah, the Guardian who was at the start
Guardian.
of this show, and he's got a big bit of rock or metal, whatever, like sticking right through him.
Yep.
And he's been murdered. And Simon just says he's dead, but then Jesse's rings like, no, he's been murdered. You can't trust him. You can't trust him. Just don't trust Baz.
Well, because it says scanning for 2 forms of life, the page before, and it says correction 1. So it almost makes it sound like maybe Simon could have murdered him if he was trying to save him and the ring disobeyed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I find interesting is, Pete, the start you said, Jess's ring seems to be, it might be okay.
Or maybe the opposite.
I thought the opposite. I was like, is this a sign that it's trying to pit her against them?
Kind of what I'm reading it as right now, and you could be right. It could be like her ring's also screwed, and maybe because of its personality and attitude, it's doing it in a different way where it's trying to convince her to be bad, but without her knowing it. It could be that, absolutely could be. I was also wondering though if it can detect that the other rings are corrupted, and the ring doesn't understand that the people in the rings are separate. It's like it's saying you can't trust him. It's not, but no, she can trust Simon. It's Simon's ring that might be the concern.
No, that's fair. I think I'm okay with either option. Like I said, I think you can read it as both ways at the minute.
Yeah.
I'm okay with either, so I'm looking forward to either.
I know it'll be fun though, because this idea that the rings can't be trusted is a really fun idea for a Lantern story.
It is.
Yep. And it balances the space cop stuff with the space opery stuff. I mean, you have this new villain group called the Eon, and they talk in wheeze like they're this hive mind.
Yeah.
That's what was attacking John. So we'll see where it goes. Yeah, but Jurgens, man, he surprises me every time he jumps to something new. Like whether it was Batman Beyond or Green Lanterns, we knew he could all write Superman, so that wasn't a surprise. But
I'm into it.
Good.
This is a promising start to the run.
Yeah.
So no, it's good stuff. So we'll shall rate it. Matt, what would you give it?
So because of spotty art and some of the story stuff, I thought the story was stronger than the art. Here, this is 7.5.
All right, Connor.
I was really into this, so I get an 8.5.
Yeah, I think I might go with 8.5 as well. I think I'm going to side with that. I mean, I agree with it. Obviously, we mentioned the art, and that's where maybe some of the pitfalls are. But I'm really into the story. I think, I always joke I don't like Guy that much. I think Guy's fine. He's my least favorite. None of the like every character was fun to come to. There was there wasn't like one scene where I cut to it and went, oh, not them again. Like I was into
him and Kilowog together. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. Oh hell, Jess and Kyle, the two best Lanterns together. Best thing ever.